Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Sorry, I forgot to turn the camera on.
I'll just remove the glare there. Here we go. Well, good morning. And hello, kids, and welcome to Season 4 and episode number 621 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. And for those of you who follow the Eager Beaver Lodge curling reports, it's Big Curling Day here. Big Curling Day here. I guess so we'll have some results for you tomorrow, but a couple of, I believe, a quarterfinal and a two semifinals today. And maybe a final, actually, because I think when we play back-to-back, if we win the semifinal, we play the final right after. So, fingers crossed. But yeah, so wish me luck. All right. A big thank you. Oh, yeah, that's the date. I gave the date, right?
I don't know.
I'll be sure. Today,
not awake
recording
yet.
day. Neither am I. I overslept, so pardon my tardiness. Yeah,
somebody rang my intercom at 3:00 in the morning, trying to get into the building. And now my phone is on Do Not Disturb at that time, but I have about 6 numbers that can get through, and that's one of them.
Okay. Yes, of course. So yeah, I am. Yeah, I had one of those nights. Like I know I slept, but like you said, like woke up at 2, woke up at 3:30, woke up at. So yeah, I set my alarm for a certain time at the absolute latest, and that's what did it today. And I need to reset that time. It's a couple minutes earlier, right? Like because today was a little rough start. This didn't just happen. Let's put it this way. Today. So today, recording day is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. It looks like it's going to be a lovely day in terms of what's going to be in the sky here at the Beaver Lodge, but it's still pretty cold. It's -5 this morning. So most of the snow that we got has melted. I think it got a little warmer at some point during the day, but yeah, -5 this morning. So definitely does not feel like spring.
I haven't looked out the window yet.
You're not with us at all today, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm on my first coffee. It's not a good start to the day. Maybe I should put vodka in this instead of water.
A big thank you. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Misfit Mysteries from Corv Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. Bit of an interesting show for you today, Kits and Cubs. There's a little bit of this and that. Pretty much this is the best way I can describe it. But there is something. I mean, I'm sure if you're anywhere astute or aware, there were a couple of things. Pierre had a meeting, not a meeting, but an exchange with a reporter where once again, leaving us to say, whoever it is on the conservative team who is trying to humanize him and teaching him how to relate, please stop.
Yeah.
Please stop. Dig up. And we will show that moment to you. But it was like,
it's just brutal. I had to add my context into that one, and a lot of people commented on the context that I added to it, and I'll show you later.
Yeah, this is no biological clocks, talking to women about highs. No, just no. And this was after a rally in Edmonton where somebody was brought in as a guest star, signaling that this campaign is really in trouble. But before we get there, Kids and Cubs, so I'm showing a little leg. I'm going to have fun today. We do have a little bit of stuff for you, of course. Looking at the polls very quickly, as we do every morning. A little bit more of a spread between the Liberals and the Conservatives on the CBC poll tracker. But still, in terms of seats, about 201 for the Liberals. So I think things must have been redistributed different in places, because that's actually fewer seats than the other day for about the same amount of top line vote. Conservatives 116, Bloc Québécois back up to 20, Democrats up to 5 because they were showing 4, and still 1 for the Greens in that one. On 338 Canada, we're looking at a 6-point spread between the Liberals and the Conservatives in this aggregator model, and that is leading. There's, like I said, we're in a holding pattern. If you look at the graph, we're sort of waving a bit. It goes up 1 or 2, and then goes down 1 or 2, and then goes up 1 or 2, goes down 1, goes up 2. We're sort of like in that little holding pattern, unless something really big happens before the debates. So the Liberals are back up to 193 seats from 192. The Conservatives holding steady at 125. The Bloc at 16. NDP at 8 here on this one, and Greens at 1. So I'm not sure how this must be how aggregators are weighting different polls to calculate it, to get these different seat counts and to model them and that type of stuff. But it's the general range, right? And then if we are looking at polling Canada, this one says 2 new polls were received in the form of abacus that says we're tied in Ipsos 12. This is really odd, actually. Actually, nope. They haven't updated yet since, so that's the same stuff I read yesterday, so I can skip over that. I was reading that and I said, that sounds familiar. And it was. So I checked the date.
There you go.
So the update has not arrived from Polling Canada yet. So, all right. So that's the over bathwater. Nothing seems to be changing. Everything that the Conservatives are trying, and they've been trying a lot of things. But nothing seems to be landing in any way, shape, or form. Oh, by the way, forgot to mention, Mr. Grizzly, I'm sure you have the image up here. The deadline for new candidates was on the 7th at 2 p.m. So all the candidates that are there are locked in. If somebody gets booted, their name can't be taken off the voter rolls, but they also can't replace them. According to the Canada. This is a nice one, a recommended site to follow. If you're on Twitter, it's called Canada Elections Tracker, I believe.
Yes,
I just want to make sure I get the name right for them.
That's what it is.
Yes, Canadian Elections Tracker. So at CDNELXNS Tracker, all in one word, and they'll give you, updates on candidates and stuff like that. And so they have listed. They've been keeping track on who's put on a full slate. So the Conservatives and the Liberals and the NDP all have 342 candidates nominated
out of the 343.
Yes.
So which riding isn't represented? Because there's 343 ridings now. They added 5, right?
Yes.
From 338 to 343. So who's not represented?
Each party. I would assume that there's one riding, respectively, in which there's a candidate. There's not, rather than one riding that doesn't have either.
Right. Yes. Like, I know, but I'm just curious as to what riding for each party is not covered. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, me too. You're
probably
right.
One with a lower population, which would garner them less votes.
Could be, or someplace each respective party feels they don't have a hope in hell of winning, so they didn't make it a priority. The PPC has 251. The Greens have 232, which is surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Because Greens normally field a full slate. So I guess they got caught by surprise by how fast it was and didn't have time to organize to get all of them, because it is a smaller operation. And the Bloc Québécois has all 78 in Quebec filled. So exactly. Currently missing, it's right there. Currently missing registered candidates. The Conservative candidate, there's no candidate in Quebec Centre, in Quebec City. That's odd, because that's usually a good base for them within the province of Quebec. Liberal doesn't have anybody in Ponoco, Didsbury, Alberta, and the NDP doesn't have anybody in South Shore, St. Margaret's, Nova Scotia. So there you go. Wow. I like I said, the number for the Greens really surprises me. They have fewer than the PPC.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Might also be a finance thing. They might have just decided to focus on districts where they have a better chance.
Possible.
Too. All right. Well, there you go. So now you know how they're lining up. Mark Carney also had since we're doing a couple tidbits, a little bit of a announcement the other day. And Mr. Grizzly, if you would, a little bit of a response to what's going on with with tariffs, and a message for seniors, something that he's doing for this year that might alleviate some stress.
I'm just bringing this up 1 second here. I was just reading a ridiculous comment by somebody. I'll get to it later, but let's have a look at this. This is a short clip. It's over 1.5 minutes. I don't know why it keeps doing that every time.
The world woke up to some pretty dramatic moves, and they're ongoing in financial markets. So before I get to the main subject at hand, I want to spend a few moments talking about what that means for us in Canada. And I think the first observation is what's going on is a direct consequence of President Trump's unjustified tariffs against Canada, tariffs that were first levied on Canada and Mexico, and then on the world. And those measures are going to hit a lot of people's savings, including their retirement savings. And as much as this is unfortunate, it was not unforeseen. This is what we have been concerned about. And indeed, this is what we've been trying to warn the President of the United States about. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There may be some tough days ahead for Canadians, but I also want to reassure that we are prepared. We foresaw this. And borrowing on my experience helping to guide Canada through the 2008 financial crisis and helping the United Kingdom weather the impacts of Brexit, we have been taking steps and we are continuing to take steps to protect Canadians. Today, my plan is to speak about environmental sustainability, and I will get to that in a moment. But
the audio's off balance
current
on
crisis,
this.
Financial crisis and economic crisis, reminds us about the other forms of sustainability. And the first is fiscal sustainability, a government that is sustainable. La saine gestion des finances publiques nous évite de mettre une charge trop lourde sur les dos de nos enfants et petits-enfants. C'est au centre de la stratégie de mon gouvernement. Nous allons dépenser moins pour que le Canada puisse investir plus. Nous nous engageons à atteindre l'équilibre budgétaire dans les 3 prochaines années, tout en utilisant les revenus venant de l'impôt pour maximiser les investissements privés qui bâtissent notre économie et soutiennent une croissance économique durable. The second sustainability is personal sustainability. In other words, our ability as individuals to provide for ourselves and our families while we're working, during our careers, and into retirement. And President Trump's actions are challenging that personal sustainability by disrupting the global economy, global financial markets, by directly targeting Canadian workers, and by fundamentally reshaping the international trading system. So many Canadians are understandably worried about their jobs and their retirement savings, which is why, anticipating this need, we announced this morning that we will help to protect Canadians' retirement savings from this market uncertainty. We will reduce the minimum amount that must be withdrawn from registered retirement income funds by 25% for the next year. And the benefit here is that seniors won't have to withdraw as much of their hard-earned savings when markets are volatile, as they will continue to be until this trade war is sorted out. We will also support seniors by temporarily boosting the guaranteed income supplement by 5%. Low-income seniors are amongst the groups that are most vulnerable during times of economic uncertainty and market pressure. These people are on fixed incomes. They don't, in general, have the ability to work. And this boost will help them to weather the storm.
So I apologize for the lack of high quality audio in that. That is what was in the recording. I cranked it as much as I could, but it was mostly on one side. In my case, in my right ear, which is my bad ear.
Yeah, same here.
But I hear
not same, but here.
Yeah. And people online were saying it was in the left side. I'm like, okay, I guess there's a flip-flop from Restream from the feed we get to what people hear. But either way, the audio was very, very low, and nothing I can do about it. I cranked it as much as I could, but it was the source.
Yeah. Now the section in French in between, he just basically said, we have having healthy fiscal policy making sure that we're not transferring a lot of the burden onto our kids and grandkids, and then basically back with this his stump speech thing about this is at the center of my policy. We need to spend less to invest more, and then use the revenue from that we get from tax dollars in order to catalyze economic growth, right? So he said that in French, but his standard sort of a line that he's been saying from the beginning there. And then to the second part. Now this, of course, for seniors, where we have this again, we're looking at different policies, right? Where Pierre is like raising a basic income amount and all that kind of stuff. But the framing of all of this is there's a shock going on right now, right? The S&P is about to enter bear market territory, which is like 20% from its peak of February 9th. Right? 20% drop. I think it's at 18.9 down. So when you have an RRSP, for those of you who are not old, who are listening, not old enough to have one yet, there comes a certain age where you have it, where you have to take it out and you have to put it into an RRIF, I think, Registered Retirement Income Fund.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you have to take the money out at a certain rate in order to deplete it to zero by a certain time. And that is preset for you. So what is happening here is that for 25, the amount that you are obligated to take out is reduced by 25% so that you can leave more money in the market and not take it out at an all-time low, like not an all-time low, but at a low. Yes. So you can protect your investment. Yes. And then a boost of 5% for those who don't have RIFs because they're receiving old age security and GIS. 5% boost to that to help them, because again, the ability to generate extra income is different. These are good policies. Yes, and it shows that this is a government that's nimble and responsive, in contrast to a party that's showing that it just cannot pivot. So there's more going on than just the announcement, because right now this is a signal to Canadians that as things change, because I will change and will move along with them, versus a guy that we're seeing as rigid, number one. And number two, everything that the whole way we framed this, I saw this coming. We anticipated this. We have this ready. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot, the way that this is presented. So, I'm watching this. I'm seeing what's coming. If it happens, I'll have something ready for you. Don't worry. That is a very reassuring message.
Agreed.
As opposed to what we're getting from the other side.
Well, yes. Instead of spouting doom and gloom and the sky is falling, he's actually
the other guy's corrupt.
He's actually saying the things that people both want and need to hear right now.
Again,
which, there's an adult in the room.
If the ballot question is leadership, do you want the guy that comes to the mic and says, "Hey, I saw this coming. We're nimble. We can adapt. We've thought of you." Or the guy says, "Hey, the guy that's saying that we're nimble, we thought of you, plagiarized his doctoral thesis 30 years ago and is in bed with communists in China and doesn't care about your housing and is trying to avoid taxes in Bermuda." And
yeah, I know.
I mean, and if that's all they were saying, would be one thing. But it's like, they're not saying he managed a company that maybe tried to avoid taxes like this. It's like, it's his company.
Well,
it's not his company.
It's not his company. He was an employee. And remember, the tax loophole in Bermuda, yeah, that was created by Stephen Harper and the Conservatives in 2011. So, I mean, if you think the Conservative Party of Canada is going to implement any sort of policies that would, have rich folks pay more taxes,
well, on
frickin' mind.
Well, on that, it would seem so. That was Pierre's a big thing yesterday, that he will take aim at offshore tax havens. He promises to raise up to $1 billion by cracking down. Pierre doing his best to meet again. I guess trying to be Mark Carney didn't work. So now this is makeover number 6.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the pension that he will be getting headquartered in a tax haven?
I'm not sure about headquartered, but I mean the public service pension as the teacher's pension and whatnot both have stuff that's in Bermuda as well.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Because they are legal structures in which the taxes are paid in Canada,
right? Even
though they are structured in Bermuda. So it's like,
so they can maximize the earnings.
Yes. So the thing is like, the the guy that was in charge, or the chair or vice chair of Brookfield, the company did something. Maybe he was direct, maybe he had direct involvement with this. Maybe he didn't. Who knows? Yes. But certainly, probably as chair, he might have had an idea. Went there, organized something, structured something, the same type of thing that a lot of our pensions also have, are a bit invested in. It's a legal structure, and the taxes were paid in Canada. Now, not liking that structure and saying it shouldn't exist, whatnot, that's one thing. There's legitimate debate there to be had. But everything, it's not like he's going rogue. Most of us who have a pension also have something that's a little bit there. So it's, so again, it's, they're hating the player, not the game in this case. And then the game is the one they created. Just like equalization, by the way.
Yes. Well,
right?
I keep having to whenever I see somebody says, Alberta's going to leave and you guys are screwed because you're not going to get any more equalization payments. Okay, well, to begin with, Ontario's GDP is more than double Alberta's. Quebec's is about $100 million more. There are no equalization payments per se. We all pay into the same tax base, and the taxes get distributed to each province as required.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was Jason Kenney who rewrote the rules on that.
Yep, with
under
Stephen
the Harper government.
Yep, it was
for
the formula
time, for the final time.
Yeah, the formula is all Alberta.
Yes, all of it.
I mean, it may have been touched up a little bit.
They don't seem to understand that.
But you see, they need a formula for when oil's at 140,
yes.
because then they're sharing too much.
Yes.
They don't like that. And then they need a formula when oil is at 60 and whatnot, because then we're not doing enough
to help them.
To help spread the hit.
And that case is when they want a national energy program.
Yeah.
I remember it let the bastards freeze in the east.
Yep. It's just a shifting back and forth like this, and whatever, if oil is good, then the rest of Canada is too greedy and we're stealing Alberta's wealth. And if oil is doing terrible, well, look at us. They never do anything for us. They never help us. I mean, I keep on seeing people that, what have they ever done for us? They never help us. It's like, come on, really? Really? Like, again, landlocked province. If the rest of us never actually did anything for Alberta, 100% of your trade would be north-south.
Yes.
Sorry, can't cross the border east-west.
Well,
sorry, the trains don't go. No, but like, if we like the starting premise that we do nothing, like Yves-François Blanchet in his opening really made it clear, right? Like this, the equalization payments, we're doing everything. All the people from Newfoundland and all those other provinces that are going over to work, that were educated in their home provinces and all that, that are taking all that education and all that work and putting it into your province. That's something you got from rest of Canada. That's something you got from your equalization, right? The fact that you have all of Canada helping to market and export and negotiating deals, and you don't have to do that all yourselves. Because that's a cost all of us take on.
Mm-hmm.
Defending it militarily, that's a cost all of us take on.
Yeah.
All the trade offices all around the world and all the consulate and diplomatic corps that help push that, that's a cost we take. Like, really? We do nothing?
The costs, privatize the profits, right? That's
like, come on. It's just ridiculous on its face.
It's the victim mentality, though. They're taking advantage of us. No, we're not. Stop it. Stop whining.
Jeez.
Your entire economy is based on a fluctuating market of a dwindling product. When the market fluctuates, you suffer because that's what you based yourself on.
And you're passing on opportunities to diversify.
You
It's
had
like
a
if
chance.
energy is the only thing you want to do and you do not want to do anything else, well, at least, God damn it, do a different kind of energy. So we'll have more on that.
This comment from Saucy Sea Witch, though, is bang on. Alberta wouldn't have been able to do any of this if other Canadians hadn't moved there to develop the province.
Yeah.
Some people who moved there haven't forgotten that themselves. And it's absolutely true because go to Fort Mac and meet somebody from Newfoundland. Oh, that's not difficult to do.
Yeah. Well,
and of course you'll have Albertans will scream, they should go back to Newfoundland. Oh, okay. Why don't they? Tell me how well your oil patch is going to be operational if all of the, for want of a better term, in quotes, immigrants from Canada leave.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous on its face. Now, again, this is a problem for Pierre Poilievre because, according to a lot of strategists, I don't know how much there is in there, but if Poilievre wanted to make some ground with the center and doesn't want to attack Donald Trump, because he should be at least having a full-throated attack against Danielle Smith. But he's not. Remember, when she put out her ransom list of 9 demands, he said it was reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, so the overall bathwater we have Mark Carney, before dropping the writ, still as Prime Minister, going to Alberta to talk with her. Her holding that embargoed press conference announcing that she was putting on new laws so that federal representatives couldn't go on certain areas to actually gather data for environmental assessments because the data apparently belongs to her.
Well,
and apparently the sky and the air and everywhere around from where you can collect the data apparently belongs to her.
Well, Wednesday, April 2nd, it was $59.36 a barrel. Friday, April 4th, $49.64. Monday, $48.35. And as of yesterday, $47.23 a barrel.
Yeah.
Western Canadian Select.
Yeah. And what we were discussing yesterday, I got better numbers. It is for every $1 US the price drops, it's a 700 and below $68 US is $750 million hole in the budget. So right now that's at 48.35. That was about a $14 billion instant hole. If that price held for one full year, it would be a $14 billion hole.
That's a lot of
in the budget that she has to make up all of a sudden. All of a sudden.
Yeah. Maybe base
she wants to balance
the
the budget.
A little bit more diversity.
Yes, and maybe again not fund your core services on a fluctuating commodity.
Well, this and again they had green. We're all in on energy. Well, why did you tear up the green energy stuff?
But not that kind of energy.
Well, it's still energy. Last I checked.
Right. I remember those commercials way back in the day. Somebody, there's a boardroom says, "I bought a cornfield." A cornfield says, "But we're in the gas business." No,
we don't know
what's in the energy business.
Yeah. Well, you bought a cornfield and you don't even know what's under it. We're in the oil business. No, we're in the energy business, and that corn can be used for ethanol.
Yeah. So it's like Danielle does not want to be in the energy business.
She wants to be in the oil business. Period. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of Texas oil companies are diversifying and getting into solar farms and wind farms because, again, they're like, aren't you in the oil business? No, we're in the energy business. We're in the energy business. So, whether it's solar or wind or offshore pontoons that float in the ocean and have, what do they call them? Magnometers? No, not magnometers, but something. It's like my watch. When I twist my wrist, my watch whines.
Oh, okay.
Right, because it's an automatic watch. There, it's winding right now. So they have, and the technology was developed largely in Scotland, where they would put buoys in the ocean, where the water was always choppy, and it would create energy that way. Basically, a completely, well, not even renewable, like an endless source of energy, hydro, a different type of hydropower.
Okay.
There you go.
Wow. Okay.
So, and also one other thing I wanted to mention too, off the coast of Scotland, where Microsoft decided to try I think it was a 3-year experiment where they put a server farm underwater in a pressurized tank so that it could be cooled by the ocean.
Okay.
It operated incredibly more efficiently and had 1/3 of the downtime, or 1/16. I can't remember the downtime where, when devices fail, was a lot lower because it was constantly kept at the same temperature, and it was just using the ocean to cool it. It wasn't requiring additional energy to cool it.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. And then, of course, somebody said, "Oh, that's just heating up the ocean," and it turns out no, it wasn't, because of the way the formula works. It wasn't heating the ocean at all. It was fully explained. That's the reason they were able to do the experiment, because Scotland would not have allowed it had it been detrimental to the aquaculture, if you will. And it wasn't, because they looked at it and discovered that there was ways to do it where it would not affect the temperature of the ocean.
Okay.
And Christian here is just making note here. They tried water turbines in the Bay of Fundy, but the Bay of Fundy, the current is so strong. They made the most strongest, best, and the Mother Nature just said no. Try again. I think they've 3 times they've tried, and each time they come up with a stronger type of vanadium steel that is mixed with titanium and blah blah, and it just, the tides just destroy them. Because Bay of Fundy is, if anybody knows, they are the highest tides in the world and the lowest tides in the world. No.
Yeah.
The water's just too strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that simple. Like, it's just too much. And Mother Nature will teach us a lesson.
Oh God.
I'm going to get a coffee here. I'll be right back, sir.
All right. Sue, you have, and the reason I'm mentioning Danielle Smith is you'll see that there's a moment, right, that happened, and the response is classic here. So Pierre has a Danielle problem in that he will not full-throatedly denounce her. Then it seems that there are a couple of other little issues with his campaign. There are stories coming out, like, for example, from the Tyee, Poilievre's bid to woo the union vote is hitting snags. Researchers say tariffs and a new liberal leader have undermined conservative efforts. So they said some analysts. Oh, sorry, I should give you the journalist who wrote this. This is Isaac van Ney from the Tyee here, and within the article, some analysts say the conservative leader expected a wave of support from some construction unions based on promises to deliver big infrastructure projects and perceptions that the Liberal government under Justin Trudeau had slowed approvals for major initiatives. But the change in Liberal leadership and U.S. tariff threats changed the political landscape, including union political support. And some labor groups say the Conservatives support anti-worker policies and would cut public spending on programs like healthcare and employment insurance as workers struggle with economic uncertainty. The Conservative Party did not respond for comment. The Conservatives have pushed hard to sell themselves as a party for workers under its, quote, boots not suits plan. The party promises more training programs, grants, and faster employment insurance payouts for apprentices in licensed trades. Pierre has announced he will also take the sales tax off home purchases and cut income taxes by 15%. 1.125% in years 1 and 2, and 2.25% after. Parts of his proposed solution to affordability issues. In its policy declaration, the party says it supports the right of workers to unionize and legally strike. The declaration adds the party also supports right-to-work legislation. You can't support both of those at the same time. You can't support right-to-work legislation and support the right of workers to unionize and legally strike at the same time. You can't. It's like cheering for chocolate and peanut butter individually in a Reese's cup rather than together.
It doesn't work.
You can't. That's weird. Widely seen as undermining. Yeah, exactly. The declaration adds the policy also supports right-to-work legislation, widely seen as undermining unions. The policy would let individual workers opt out of union membership and union dues and has been condemned by some public sector unions and labor organizations. On its website, the Conservative Party boasts of an endorsement from the International Brotherhood of Boilermakers Canada and what the party calls endorsements of Pierre Poilievre's plan for workers by labor voices, including Canada's Building Trades Union, the Laborers International Union of North America, LAUNA, and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, or IBEW, Construction Council of Ontario. But the claims aren't entirely true.
Yeah.
Both LAUNA Canada, which last endorsed the Liberals in 2015, and the IBEW Ontario Council have posted support for specific Conservative policies on social media and appreciation for visits from Poilievre, but neither has formally endorsed a party in the federal election. Both unions did endorse the Ontario Progressive Conservatives during the provincial election. Also included in the Conservative Party's union endorsement list is the Progressive Contractors Association of Canada, an employers association, not a union.
Right.
Stephen Tufts, a labor researcher at York University, says he believes the federal Conservatives are trying to emulate the success of their Ontario counterparts. Oh, so Doug Ford wouldn't help them, so they're just lifting a strategy and just applying it sloppily. Again, kits and cubs, the degree of care and attention with which they try to promote having union support is the degree and care of attention they're probably going to have with the finances of the nation. This is sloppy. Oh, sloppy has 2 P's. What do you know? Sloppy pee-pee.
And you can't spell Poilievre without lie.
Oh my God.
Poilievre.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's having, they said that there was a poll of union members' voting habits that took place as part of a study at the University of Saskatchewan. Outside of Quebec, 37% of surveyed union members reported being, quote, somewhat or much more likely to vote for candidates endorsed by their unions. In Quebec, that portion was about 27%. It's still a significant number. In ridings with a particularly high number of union members, that is certainly enough to change the outcome in a close race. So endorsements can have an impact. About half of poll respondents said they would not be swayed positively or negatively by union endorsements. He added members who think their union does a good job representing them were significantly more likely to be swayed by union endorsements at the polls. So there you go. And basically, there's a quote here attributed to someone whose last name is Savage, who I skipped a section in there, so I do not know who it is. Darn. Should it? But they basically said the Conservatives have been making efforts to position themselves as more union friendly, but I think it's mostly smoke and mirrors. So, yeah.
That's from the Tyee, was it?
That's from the Tyee.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, so that bid from the Conservatives not going well. Okay, it's Larry Savage, a labor researcher at Brock University, who made that comment here. So that's not going very well for him, and he's invested a lot into that specifically. Then we have another Conservative candidate who is presenting issues by whom he is standing by. We've talked about him previously on the show because we actually couldn't believe that his nomination got approved. But it was Andrew Lawton. Now, Andrew Lawton said a lot of things.
He's a pretty terrible human being.
However, this has something to do with something entirely other than awful things he said. But according to a press progress report on April 4th by Luc Lebrun, Conservative candidate used a secret signal group chat with Freedom Convoy leaders, right-wing media, and far-right influencers.
Who else uses Signal? Oh, right. Pete Hegseth, military. Yeah.
The campaign that wants you to believe that it is not in any way at all like Trump. Nope. We're Canada first. Also has a candidate that used Signal.
They can't even use it. Signal is encrypted end to end. It is, but you can also make it be deleted, which by government standards is completely illegal. You cannot, anything that a member of the federal government on both sides of the border discusses in written format must be recorded for all time. It has to be kept in a public archive. So using an encrypted messaging app and deleting it later is, that'll land you in a lot of hot water because it's not legal.
Yeah.
What are you hiding?
Mr. Grizzly, if you will open the article, there are a couple of screen caps
I have
as well included in it. So according to Luc Lebrun here of Press Progress, one of Pierre Poilievre's high-profile conservative candidates was a member of a secret group chat used by Freedom Convoy leaders and their lawyers to coordinate messages on social media with right-wing alternative media personalities and far-right social media influencers. The group chat on Signal, an encrypted messaging app, is called Canada Freedom Rights Movement and includes over 50 names associated with the Freedom Convoy and the Canadian far-right. The group chat was first created around the time of the Emergencies Act inquiry but remains operational today. Messages obtained by Press Progress suggest the group chat was created to give convoy leaders and their lawyers the ability to coordinate media messaging comm strategy with alt media / influencers who were cautioned that the language we use is incredibly important. An 88-page document with instructions on messaging and narrative control was made available to the alt media personalities. They have an 88-page document on how they...
Mm-hmm.
But it's grassroots. My God. 88-page document with instructions on messaging and narrative control was made available to the alt media personalities and influencers by a lawyer with the Right-Wing Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. Numerous group chat messages shows its members exchanging information, debating ways to counter anti-convoy narratives, and identifying tweets to share and amplify. The group's chat description identifies itself as a, quote, clandestine group, and new members are warned to remember the first rule of Fight Club.
You don't talk about Fight Club. Yeah. Look at this walking, talking human excrement, Andrew Lawton. Okay, so I was only in Ottawa about a week, but I don't recall seeing any bodily fluids. Zexi Lee makes it sound like she was wading through poop and pee walking down Laurier. Oh, because you didn't see it, I guess it didn't happen.
Well, yes, that is the typical conservative thing, right?
Yeah, if I didn't witness it, it never happened.
There's one early on that says somebody writes something, and then our world famous Hiva Chipmunk, world's best lawyer.
In Canada.
Thank you, Bethan. I noticed some awesome things today. Our leaders were shaken, and that was scary. Again, not the protesters. And then Andrew Lawton, I see we're in the presence of counsel. Wink.
Mm-hmm.
And that one got a heart emoji. I wonder from whom. The group chat lists two admins, Eva Chipyuk, a former Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms lawyer who represented convoy leaders. Oh, former. Interesting. At the Emergencies Act inquiry, and Bethan Nodwell, a convoy organizer with ties to neo-Nazis and European far-right political actors. Charming! The member list also includes the names of key Freedom Convoy figures, including convoy leaders Tamara Litch, who definitely wasn't a leader, apparently. But the judge didn't think so. Chris Barber, same thing. Tom Marazzo, as well as convoy lawyer Keith Wilson. Yeah. It also includes the names of dozens of far-right social media influencers and right-wing alternative media personalities from outlets like The Other True North, Western Standard, and Rebel Media. Another name that appears on the list is currently running for Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives in Southwest Ontario, riding Elgin St. Thomas, London South. Andrew Lawton. Lawton is a right-wing alt-media personality and former managing editor of The Other True North, who most recently chronicled the life and times of Pierre Poilievre as the Conservative leader's biographer. Guess writing a book gets you some loyalty. In 2018, Lawton ran a failed campaign under Doug Ford's Ontario PCs that was derailed by his history of controversial statements and extreme positions on a variety of sensitive issues like abortion, LGBTQ plus rights, Islamophobia, and defending on-campus debates about Holocaust denialism. And even though he was booted by Doug Ford in 2018, well, not booted, had a failed campaign under 2018, and all of this was known, Pierre said, "You're my kind of people. Let's prove your nomination." On Signal, but they have the best vetting. They're vetting for this, kids and cubs, for, not to keep it out, for it. Clearly. On Signal, Lawton was among the group chat's most active members. What a keener. In a number of cases during the Emergencies Act inquiry in October 2022, tweets that appeared on Lawton's Twitter feed could be traced back to conversations that originally began inside the secret group chat. Other messages show Lawton collaborating and responding to suggestions from convoy lawyers. In one October 2022 exchange, convoy lawyer Eva Chipiak asked the group chat if someone can get a clip out from the testimony of Ottawa City Councillors Matthew Fleury and Catherine McKenney. On it, Lawton replied to the group chat. 15 minutes later, Lawton tweeted out the video clip in question with True North's branding along with text aligned with the convoy lawyer's suggested messaging. "Here you go, Eva Chipiak," Lawton reported. "Thank you, sir," Chipiak replied. Wow.
Yeah. They're trying to polish a turd here. And if you looked at some of the things I put on the screen from that, going on about how, according to the people who lived in Ottawa, Parliament was on fire. I'm like, I love how people who weren't here, who didn't live through it, like I did, are telling me what I experienced.
Mm.
I'll go put my blue jacket on and scream in every one of their goddamn faces. But remember, you didn't live through it. I did. You don't get to comment on it.
They're experts on everything.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They were virologists and epidemiologists and constitutional scholars and all at the same time. Remember?
And now they're tariff experts, apparently.
Yes. Neither Lawton nor the Conservative Party of Canada responded to requests for comment prior to publication about the candidate's involvement in the single group chat. I wonder why. Or whether Poilievre remains confident in Lawton as his candidate. Well, clearly he does. Several individuals whose names appear on the members list confirmed to Press Progress that they were active members of the group chat. The Signal accounts of a number of its members also connect to their real phone numbers. Benita Peterson, an energetic convoy organizer, confirmed being in the group chat, describing it as a, quote, terrific way to get organized and share information. "I love being part of group chats," Peterson told Press Progress. "I guess one of the challenges I have is that I'm part of too many group chats." Rupa Subramanya, one of Lawton's former other True North colleagues, confirmed she too was also a member of the single group chat between October 22nd to October 2022 and November 2024, recalling Lawton was particularly, quote, very active in the group chat.
Something occurred about a week ago. Somebody wrote something ridiculous about another, somebody, I can't remember what the exact thing was, but what I do remember was Rupa wrote something and I completely agreed with her. And I was like, okay, hell just froze over.
It happens now and then.
She came out and said something that was perfectly sensible.
Yep.
It was not outlandish. It wasn't hyperbolic. She basically cut somebody down for spewing bullshit, which is something that she's a merchant thereof.
Yes.
But she said, no, this is absolute garbage, what you're saying. I was like, holy shit, hell just froze over.
Look, even Rupa has standards. Okay. And that's, like, yeah, Andrew Lawton. Yeah, I remember us being very active on the chat.
Yeah.
I see you, baby. I see what you're doing. Wow. I was just added to the group, and I thought at first it would be a useful resource, Subramanya told Press Progress, adding she eventually put the group chat on mute because she felt it had become completely useless. There are a handful of messages I posted there, mostly promoting stuff I was saying on social media, Subramanya explained. It was not a single chat group that Mike Waltz added me to or anything. Part of it, a little bit of sticking the knife, and then part of it trying to diminish as they're walking away. Okay, we'll see. In addition to coordinating messages and social media content, the group chat also shows its members repeatedly mocking Ottawa residents for objecting to the Freedom Convoy's 3-week occupation of the city. Because they're delightful people. Mm-hmm. Eva Chipyuk, one of the convoy leaders, lawyers at the Emergency Act Inquiry, created a conspiratorial video claiming Ottawa resident Zexi Li, a Chinese psyop, quote, variously mocking the inquiry witness as a, quote, alluring young sexually viable TikTok hottie, and as Ottawa's Jeanne d'Arc. Again, they can't stop thinking about people sexually. They just can't.
It's a very bizarre sensibility.
Since leaving the group chat, Subramania says she has learned several of those people in that group, quote, are outright bigots. Subramania pointed to Betha Nodwell, one of the group's chat admins, as a, quote, rabid anti-Semite bigot who sent her, quote, vile tweets mocking Hinduism. See, because even in the group chat, there's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
People to punch down on. Even Balgord, executive director on the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, notes the full group chat member list reads like a who's who of right-wing media personalities and far-right activists. Quote, some of these people are quite extreme in my opinion, Balgord told Press Progress. Betha Nodwell, for example, is a self-identified white nationalist who has denied the Holocaust. Balgord pointed out. Shadow Davis, another member of the chat, promoted the neo-Nazi Holocaust denial documentary series Europa, The Last Battle, which is a spanning piece of propaganda that blames Jewish people for starting the Second World War as part of a larger plot to lead the foundation of Israel, while Adolf Hitler's Nazis were merely defending themselves and Europe. Yeah. Balgord added other names on the group chat member lists are, quote, associated with the white nationalist network Diagolon, of which Pierre knows nothing about, but his biographer does.
Interesting.
Was sharing a group chat. Okay. The group chat member list is also notable given some of the names were under court order to have no contact with one another at a time. Oops. Oopsie. Both Tamara Litch and Chris Barber were released on bail under a condition that they did not communicate either directly or indirectly with another. Litch was also ordered to have no contact with third convoy leader Tom Marazzo. The names of all three convoy leaders appear in the group chat.
So, a couple of years ago, I think it was during the POEC, when Tamara and Tom and that group were all in town. They weren't supposed to meet with one another, correct?
Correct.
They all showed up at the pub one night. I came out of the toilet and I almost stepped on Tamara Leach because she's very tiny. She's about 5 foot tall, if that. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I come around the corner and who do I see standing in the middle of the bar but all 5'6" of Tom Marazzo. I tell you his height because I'm beginning to think he might have a small man syndrome because he really, really did have to, and I know you're not super tall, sir, but you don't have that issue.
Nope.
But I think he does because he had to make himself the center of that whole thing. Bring the leaders to the table and we'll negotiate with them. Excuse me? Who elected you?
Are?
I don't recall voting for you. I don't recall seeing your name on a ballot anywhere.
Neither Leach nor Barber responded to requests for comment from Press Progress, while Marazzo replied tersely, don't email me again. I'm wondering, given that this news happened on the 4th and sentencing is still to come, whether this might be a factor in determining the sentence. Michael Spratt, a criminal defense lawyer based in Ottawa, says Litch and Barber's presence in the group could potentially be construed as a breach of their bail conditions. The non-communication order is a problem, Spratt told Press Progress. If you're in a group chat with a bunch of people who you're not supposed to be communicating with, that is direct or indirect communication. There's definitely grounds to lay a charge, Spratt said. I've seen people get charged with breaches for life. Oh, wouldn't it be a shame if they had to go back to court again? On Thursday, Tamara Leach and Chris Barber were both convicted of criminal charges in connection with their roles in the 2022 Freedom Convoy occupation of Ottawa. The Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms did not respond to multiple requests for comment from Press Progress about involvement of JCCF-affiliated lawyers running or participating in the group chat. It's amazing how all these people who are loudmouths and have so much to say suddenly have nothing to say when people go, well, how about this thing you did? Oh, Update. Following publication of this story and reporting by other media outlets, Andrew Lawton issued a public statement characterizing his involvement with the secret group as being purely journalistic in nature. Mr. Grizzly, if you have the visual, that it's at the end of the article, or there's a specific link, either in the show notes, one or the other. But I would love for you to read this one.
The press progress at the very, very end. Which
the last cap, the last image.
The last screen cap. Hang on.
Yeah, there's Andrew Lawton.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to it here. I got pop-ups all over the place on my screen. Okay, Andrew. Oh, his X tweet. Is that what you're referring to, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, here's what he has to say. As a journalist covering the Public Order Emergency Commission, I was part of a group to connect with sources and share my work. I authored the only journalistic account of the Freedom Convoy, which was cited in evidence by the commission itself as a factual account of the protests. I left the group after the commission hearings ended.
I would need a clip of this. Sure, I'm on it. 15 minutes later, here it is with my branding of my network on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But as a journalist covering the Public Order Emergency Commission, I was part of a group to connect with sources and share my work. You weren't sharing your work.
Well,
it wasn't work that you had generated on your own and say, hey, maybe this could be useful. This was, it would be really helpful if we had this. Hey, I've got that for you. Let me make it.
Well, let's look at his some of the response here, I think. So there's his tweet, right? And then we scroll down, we look at some of the responses. You're not a journalist looking at your freedom chat. You are simply a propagandist pushing out messaging in support of that group. Since CPC headquarters is cool with your ilk, I hope the constituents see to it that you don't win. We don't need racists in Parliament. Wahaha, you've lost the narrative. People see you for who you are. This is disgraceful, and as a resident of St. Thomas, I am ashamed to have you running. I'm sad that I can't vote Conservative for the first time in my adult life. Karen Vecchio was 10 times the politician you will ever be. Step aside and soon, or you will sink any chance of the CPC.
Oh my God, he's replacing Karen Vecchio?
Yes, and she is not endorsing him.
No, she is not. She was one of the good ones. The one that they ran her out of town because she was one of the good ones. She would work with other parties. So they said they couldn't have that. So they removed her from her committee and then made sure that life was so unpleasant that she didn't want to run again.
Now explain why you're running in a riding that you have no significant ties to or call home. You wrote a book praising Pierre as a wonderful politician and got his phone endorsement because of it. No need to defend factual reporting. Of course, this guy, you rock, Andrew. Keep up the fight. The story started with Press Progress, outlet of the NDP Allied Broadband Institute. It often functions as an opposition research arm and farm team for the mainstream media. I see that Luc Lebrun, editor of Press Progress, has protected his posts. They are, or were, full of friendly back and forth with Antifa-linked and other far-left accounts. So he's not in a good position to complain. That guy talked to someone I don't like.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Just for shit.
So, yeah. That's going to be an issue. So he stood by Gunn and he stood by Lawton. But his vetting is fantastic. Not doing well with the unions. Andrew Lawton here trying to turn his helping the people trying to take over Canada as a virtue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then there was this exchange with journalist Laura Stone.
Oh, I have this.
Yesterday.
This is just wait. If you have not seen this.
So PP has started doing this thing where he's asking journalists questions. We saw it the other day when he was in Kingston asking about his rally. And then yesterday we told you about this video apparently he did where he was like talking to a bust of John A. Macdonald and saying, hey, what do you think? Right? You have to remember the context again, right? That Pierre Poilievre only allows himself to be asked 4 questions.
Correct.
I actually want to know about your rallies and what your strategy is and who you're talking to, because you bring up things like woke mob, Century Initiative, bulldozing the CBC. I'm exaggerating, but getting rid of CBC HQ. At what point are you just talking in an echo chamber to people who already feel that way, or do you feel like these are broadening the tent of support to Liberal or undecided voters to get them on board with your campaign?
I think it's pretty broad. I think how many people do you think we had last night?
Thousands.
Well, that's pretty obvious. I think you can be more precise than that.
I don't. I mean, the party said 10,000 registered. There's reports of 15. I really can't say.
One last question. When was the last time we had a rally that big in Canada?
Why is he asking
I don't
questions?
know. I've never been to a political rally that big, I don't think.
You know a lot about politics. You're a very well-informed person. I know that if there were a bigger rally than that, you would know about it. I think so. But I think it was pretty incredible. Were any of you there? This is magic, eh?
He's at 5 questions now.
In 50 seconds. And he didn't even speak the whole time.
Hey, did you see the size? It was big, wasn't it? Oh, come on. Don't be coy. You could say it. You've seen others before. How big was it?
Yeah.
Come on. Yikes. Oh, man. God. The only thing he didn't do is ask her if he had a good time.
Why are right-wingers, and I say that because, conservatives, if you want to call him conservative, he's not conservative. He's a Reform Party stalwart, along with Trump, who he would call himself a Republican, but a conservative. But I'll just call him a right-wing arsehole. That's the new bucket of chicken from a chicken manufacturer, chicken company. Yeah, right. It's the Republican Party bucket. It's full of right wings and arseholes. So that's an old joke from the 70s, believe it or not. Anyway, why is it they are so obsessed with crowd size?
That's all they got going for them right now.
Maybe it's. And I'm not crushing your head here.
No. I won't go for that in this case.
Well, this is what everybody said. I didn't say that. I just said, why is he so obsessed with crowd size?
Because the polls and the whole thing, right? It's a do not believe the evidence of your eyes and ears.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Like this. Look at the size of our rallies. Our rallies are so big. Everyone wants to come and see us. Look at all this enthusiasm. Look at again. As I keep on saying, remember, Pierre Poilievre is very cinematic. You see the images he wants you to see. You see him with the union workers standing behind him. You don't see him as him walking in and not talking to the union workers. You see the rally going right, but you don't see all the journalists getting shoved and pushed as the bus is arriving because you can't film the actual bus arriving.
Right.
Because something might happen as the bus arrives. There might be a protest, or somebody might come in and shake hands and have a Brian Mulroney moment with that lady where he said, "Goodbye, Charlie Brown." We don't want that captured. Only the images we want you to see. Only the questions we want you to ask.
We will show you what we want you to see. Period. That's it. We will show you what we want you to see.
Yes. You will swallow it and you will like it. That's essentially what that's how they're campaigning. That's how they're campaigning.
Yeah.
Now, 2 days before this, or the day before this little snippet came out. Pierre Poilievre posted something to his Twitter feed, and he seemed really, really happy. Because there was going to be a special guest, Mr. Grizzly, if you would put it up.
This guy?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. There was the tweet, actually.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah, the image right above it.
Just a second. Yeah. I'll pull that up. There we go. I'll blow it up so it's easier to read.
Yeah. What did you have to say?
Looking forward to seeing former Prime Minister Stephen Harper tonight in Edmonton at our Canada First Rally for Change. RSVP here if you are in the area to join your fellow patriotic Canadians. Stephen Harper to introduce Pierre Poilievre at Edmonton Rally.
Okay. Now, everybody's going to go, what's the problem with this? Okay. No problem with this whatsoever. No problem whatsoever. But midpoint in the campaign is tomorrow.
Yes.
The debates haven't happened yet.
No, that happens on the 17th.
Usually, 17th and 18th. Usually, when you bring in the elder statesmen during an election campaign, for example, or a leadership race, like when Jacques Cartier came at the end on the closing night, you usually bring him in as the closer.
Mm-hmm. Batting
The
cleanup.
closer. Number one. Number two, Poilievre is campaigning in Alberta.
Yeah.
And he needs to bring Harper to campaign with him in Alberta.
That's kind of telling, huh?
Before halfway through the campaign. Harper's not there to introduce Pierre. Harper is there to administer CPR.
I would think so.
This here at this point in the campaign is highly unusual. This itself isn't highly unusual that it happens, but it usually happens in the last 2 or 3 days. The big rally at the end, you're building momentum, you're closing it, you're sealing the deal, you get the troops out, because you have to remember, right? There's a lot of us on our side of the spectrum who look at Harper and go, ugh, Voldemort. Okay, but to them, remember, he's the only one who brought them to the promised land of a majority once.
Yes. Oh, I just was issued the new Conservative Party logo. There it is.
For those listening at home, yes.
It's the Conservative Party C with a maple leaf. And in the middle, so the maple leaf has been lowered, and it's in white. And in the middle, where the red maple leaf once was, is now a silhouette. Profile silhouette of Trump's head.
Yeah. Those of you who use your creativity in these ways.
We thank you. I don't know who created it, but damn.
So, kids and cubs, for your enjoyment. And please watch this. Don't watch this as in like, oh God, Harper, they revived and they brought the crypt keeper back. Think of it as this is an episode of ER, right? And the cameras are going around and somebody's yelling clear.
Yourself a positive part of the most important decision that this country is going to make.
I don't know who is doing the audio in these things because it's just brutal. This is the best I can give you. I'm sorry, folks. It's the source.
In decades, Canada right now needs change more desperately than it perhaps ever has. And it needs someone to lead that change, my friends. As someone who had the honor of serving as your Prime Minister, I know...
They love him.
I know that being Prime Minister is a trust. It is a trust to take this incredible country that our ancestors bequeathed us and to leave it stronger, more united, more compassionate, and more confident than we found it. That's what we did, my friends. But that is not the story of the past decade, and that has got to change for Canada. You know, friends, I am in a unique position in this federal election. I am the...
You ever said that somebody said to me not too long ago, and I just want to interject because the audio was driving me crazy. I had to just stop it for a second here. But somebody once said to me, doesn't he remind you of Barney Rubble? And I went, well,
without the sense of humor.
Yes. I'm with you, Fred.
The only person who can say that both of the men running to be Prime Minister once worked for me. And in that regard, my choice, without hesitation, without equivocation, without a shadow of a doubt, is Pierre Poilievre.
Okay. Mr. Grizzly? Okay. So, starts off with the endorsement, doesn't waste time, doesn't pussyfoot around. Just, again, the duty was to leave the country more united than ever. And that's why he went out on the barbaric cultural practices stitch line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was leaving the country more united than ever on the way out. I've hired both. I choose Pierre. Now, we know that this is not true.
Yeah.
Because during the time that Pierre was there, Pierre was given very, very little responsibility. For the entire Harper decade, I think he was cabinet minister fewer than 2 years. And one of them, the story is that he botched so bad that Harper gave him a huge dressing down. No, sorry, one time. Not when he was cabinet minister, sorry. Harper gave him a huge dressing down on the day of the Indigenous, the apology for residential schools, because Pierre squandered the message. And then, when he was Minister of Democratic Reform, kind of sharded the bed with his Fair Elections, allegedly Fair Elections Act law. So he was never given an economic portfolio of any consequence, really. But Stephen Harper chooses him. Now, for a little revisionist history.
Okay. Sorry, just taking me a second to get it queued here. Oh boy, here we go.
I have known Pierre Poilievre for a quarter of a century. Since he was a very young man, the first time I met him, I could see that he was smart, articulate, possessing tremendous passion for our country and strong convictions about sound public policy. In 2004, during the time of my leadership, Pierre's parliamentary career began. He went progressively from a backbench MP to a parliamentary secretary, to a junior cabinet minister, to a senior cabinet minister, and of course, to party leader. And in all of those roles, he worked, he fought, and he learned. Because it is not just that Pierre excelled in all of those roles. In all of them, he grew. He got better and better.
Oh, girl.
Friends, don't let anyone tell you that he was born to be Prime Minister, or that he can just somehow parachute into the job fully prepared. Political experience, elected, accountable political.
Canada has record-leading job creation among major developed countries and policies that are highly emulated around the world. One of the reasons I think that somebody like Mr. Carney can be recruited to serve in another.
I had to throw that clip in to just show you the contrast, how he's praising Pierre Poilievre, but he actually kind of really digs Mark Carney while he's about to stomp on him here.
Yep. All right. So Pierre got better and better and did an excellent job. And I'm like, no, he didn't.
I don't recall any of that.
No, he didn't. Like, the evidence is all around. No, he didn't.
How much legislation has he tabled in his entire almost 21-year career?
Before he became leader, I think it was 5 pieces total, only one that received royal assent, and that's the one that killed his party.
Friends, don't let anyone tell you that he was born to be prime minister, or that he can just somehow parachute into the job fully prepared.
Yeah, it's a dig at
Political experience, elected, accountable political experience, and the capacity for growth with that political experience, that is what Pierre has demonstrated for 2 decades, and that is the single most important characteristic a prime minister needs.
Really? Really? I would beg to differ.
Yeah. And by the way, I say that as the guy who actually did lead Canada through the global financial crisis.
Someone's ego got hurt.
You think?
I hear there's someone else claiming it was him.
You didn't do it alone.
It was, of course, our government.
Only I.
The late, great...
Hold on. You did not do that alone. And if I remember correctly, your great management, because you went against economic advice on this one, steered us into a second mini recession.
Mm-hmm. Well,
after 2008. But you see how he lowered the bar for Pierre, what the most important criteria is to be a prime minister.
Experience being a politician for 20 years?
Yeah. Lowering the bar so that Pierre can clear it there.
Jim Flaherty. And our conservative team who were responsible for the day-to-day macroeconomic management during that challenging time.
En français, j'ai travaillé pendant la période de la crise financière mondiale
during the financial crisis in close collaboration with Mr. Flaherty. He was exceptional as a finance minister. And I note that around all the tables, well, Mr. Poilievre was not at any table, ever. He's got no experience to manage crises, or to build a strong economy. Not at that time, and not afterwards.
That our country faces today another historically challenging time in the form of the Trump administration. There is no sugarcoating that. But the bulk of the problems that afflict our country, falling living standards, declining employment and housing opportunities, rising crime, the growing divisions between our regions and our people, these were not created by Donald Trump. They were created by the policies of 3 Liberal terms, policies that the present Prime Minister supported and wants a 4th Liberal term to continue.
Really? Because according to Greg McEachran, I don't want to hear anything more about how they pivoted when they keep ending up in a place that defends Trump. Harper says Canada's problems not created by Trump as he endorses Poilievre. Let's just rewrite history, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Pierre has consistently opposed those policies. Policies that have put costs up, accelerated crime, left our wealth in the ground, and made our economy vulnerable and under America's thumb. And Pierre has, just as importantly, long advocated the positive alternatives for change, to axe those taxes, build homes, bring back jobs, get our resources to the whole world. And stand up to Washington from a position of strength. Friends, I believe that the challenge this country faces today from the United States, as real and serious as it is, should not be another excuse for Liberal failure. Instead, it should be a historic opportunity. That's how we've got to see it. An opportunity to make Canada what it should be. Internally united, internationally connected, a truly independent economy with the highest living standards in the world. And with those benefits, enjoyed not just by protected elites, but by all the people of this country in every region of this country. Friends, because that goal does not depend on Donald Trump, it depends on us. But we will only get there with leadership from a person who has an actual policy plan, from a person who has been right on all the big issues for a decade, and a person who has the energy and, yes, the youth.
I'm going to need a shovel to get rid of all this bullshit that we're being...
The person who's been right on everything for the past decade? Well, that's been nobody, number one. But of the two candidates, the one that's been more right...
To take us forward...
It's a cult.
...into a better, stronger, and more united future. That person has been my colleague, he is my friend, he is our leader, and he is the next Prime Minister of Canada.
Okay, I've had about enough of that.
Poilievre and Anna.
Yeah, you noticed that one.
Evita, Evita, Evita. See them on the plane the other day? Walking up at the top of the steps of the big plane, waving to we don't know exactly who. Yeah. No reminiscence of Evita at all.
No.
Nope.
No.
So yeah. Stephen Harper. Shoveling, you see that you heard there between around 4 minutes 50 and the thing and 6:30 that he got the part of the speech that was either written for him by the Poilievre people or that he had fed them all along about how we're all broken and all that kind of stuff, and liberals and everything are terrible. But yeah, like this, and wasn't Donald Trump putting us in this terrible situation? Can campaign if you keep on saying it. If you keep campaigning like Mark Carney is a bigger threat than Donald Trump, nobody is going to believe you're going to put Canada first. Jagmeet Singh picked up on that, but these guys can't. They can't figure it out.
Well, and this is a really good question from PNC Bio. What does Mr. Harper think of Pierre's plan to dismantle the Bank of Canada and replace everything with Bitcoin? Or do we just forget inconvenient things?
Well, see, we don't know because in true conservative form. Pierre and Steve didn't take any questions after the rally and were not available to journalists.
Oh, there's a shocker.
So nobody could ask Stephen Harper, but wasn't it true that you offered Mark Carney the job as Minister of Finance? Huh. Interesting. And on that, Mr. Grizzly, I believe that I have one more. Whoops. Well, that isn't it. I had found the clip here of Jim Flaherty himself, because, of course, the claim here from the Conservatives is not only, well, now the new claim is that Stephen Harper saying that it seems that Mark Carney is saying that he's the one that saved us from the no, that was me. And of course, it was the whole stolen valor from good old Saint Jim Flaherty, right? He did it. Again, remember, the central bank is independent from the government. Right? The governor is named, I guess, but after that, they are independent. So the whole monetary policy that was set that got us out of there, that was not Stephen Harper. Stephen Harper did not determine the monetary policy. Stephen Harper is the guy that promised all of our G7 partners that we would spend 2% of GDP to stimulate the economy, and then didn't do it. And then cut supports faster than the economists told him to, and then provoked the second recession. We got a 2008 despite Stephen Harper.
Correct. Where's the sound go? What the hell is going on here?
At finance and his.
That was annoying. Let's start that over. I don't know why it muted. That was bizarre. Let me just fix this up here so it's easier to see.
So let's go to Jim Flaherty himself when he was alive.
I've worked with the governor for a long time now, both at finance and in his role as governor of the Bank of Canada, and we've traveled a lot around the world together, and I know his capabilities, and he has demonstrated his performance capacity over time. So I have no doubt that he will do a brilliant job in his next post.
Great. Thanks very much.
It's amazing what they say about them then and what they say about them now.
Yeah.
Because nothing has changed between what Mark Carney did during that time today than when Jim Flaherty said that. The work he had done was done. But all of a sudden, the exact same work that got that praise was now, he's trying to steal our good work. They have the same, again, sounding a bit like Jagmeet Singh. We did it. We forced them. We did it. We had no help whatsoever.
We did it all on our own.
Stephen Harper saved it. Stephen Harper and Pierre saved the economy all by themselves.
I realize what time it is. I got to roll, but before I do that, let's share this little clip here of Mark Carney.
We are fighting the Americans. We are fighting the Americans everywhere they understand. We're fighting the Americans in the pocketbook. We have retaliatory tariffs on them. We just hit them again in the auto sector. We're fighting them on Fox News, which is what they understand. We're sending Doug Ford onto Fox News to show them that we're not messing around up here. And we're going to send Danielle next. Maybe we won't send her. We won't send Danielle. No, maybe we won't. We won't send Danielle. We're going to keep her. No, keep her. No, that's a bad idea. Forget. Strike that.
So here's the funny, the blowback from that one was, he's not a feminist. He's a sexist misogynist. It has nothing to do with her gender or what is between her legs, and everything to do with the fact that she's a fucking traitor to this country.
Yes, for the purposes of this, because Danielle Smith was like, well, It's typical with a man like that when you get a strong conservative woman. It's like, this has nothing to do with you being strong. This has nothing to do with you being pig-headed. This has nothing to do with you being a conservative. This has everything to do with you being treacherous. And it has nothing to do with you being a woman, because in this instance, you are genderless. It has nothing to do with your gender. You are a premier masquerading as an oil and gas corporate lobbyist.
Well,
corporate oil and gas corporate lobbyist masquerading as a premier.
And it's ironic how, that faction of that side of the aisle always is go woke, go broke. Why you want to end radical wokeness, end cancel culture? But the minute it flies in the face of what they're saying, they're suddenly super woke and saying, oh, he said this because she's a woman. He's not a feminine. I'm like, oh, for Christ. No, it's because you're a traitor, Danielle. You're a traitor to this country, and you threaten to break it up, which, by the way, you can't do because it's all treaty territory. None of the land belongs to you. Have a nice day, Danielle. I do have to go. I'm running really late. I apologize. I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Thank you. So, yeah, Danielle. Getting all offended. And here's the other thing, right? The person who puts a 9-point ransom note and says, whoever wins, you've got 6 months to do this, or I'm going to threaten the unity of the country, gets to do that. She gets to go to the United States and say the stuff that she says to Breitbart and go to PragerU and go to Mar-a-Lago and do all that stuff. She gets to do all of that. But we do not get to tell a joke about how her seeming inability to put Canada or even Alberta first, because this is really like Scooby-Doo. It's like, it's the premier of Alberta. Take off the mask. Oh no, it's the oil and gas lobby. I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling liberals. Like, come on. Now, again, it's not like Danny doesn't need a distraction, right? She suddenly has a $14 billion hole in her budget. Got to blame someone, right? And it's not like things are going well for her in other ways. It seems that where she is, there's a high school in Camrose that's unable to open. The school is in the city southeast of Edmonton was completed early, but there are no paved roads or utilities to the school located on the southwest edge of the city. They built the school, they built no road to it, and there's no utilities. Construction started on the nearly $30 million Blessed Carlo Acutis Catholic High School in 2023. It will accommodate more than 400 students between grade 9 and 12. The Elk Island Catholic School Division plans for the school to be open this upcoming September. It was identified as the #1 priority in the division's 3-year capital plan back in 2021. Right now, high school students within the division attend grades 5 to 12 at Our Lady of Mount Pleasant Catholic School, but parents say a standalone Catholic high school is overdue. But you can't get there. No electricity, no roads. Interesting move. Then it appears that in the latest employment numbers, when we found out that we lost 33,000 jobs in March, well, when it comes to Alberta, unfortunately, they're doing not so well. Among the worst in the country. Actually, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. I'm sorry here. I'm just looking for something that got taken out of circulation here. Somehow Windows did a little dance on me here, and I've lost the number. But if I remember correctly from the article that I read, the unemployment rate in Alberta has hit 7.1%, and it is the highest in the nation. So we have some infrastructure projects that are not going very well. We have high unemployment. This is by Gillian Code at City News. Alberta's unemployment rate saw the highest growth in the country, according to Statistics Canada. The province lost 15,000 jobs in March, bringing the unemployment rate to 7.1, a 0.4% increase, which is significant enough in 1 month. Canada's unemployment rate is at 6.7, an increase from 6.6. So all of Canada had all of Canada combined created the unemployment to go up only 0.1%. But so many of the jobs were in Alberta specifically that the province's unemployment rate went up by 0.4. So that's not great news for a leader. Then you get the bottom falling out of oil. So she needs a distraction. And Carney doing that, going after Carney is it. Now, for Carney, you're hearing a lot of talk that, again, this is an unforced era, lack of discipline, shouldn't even open the door to give Danielle Smith an opportunity. And in normal circumstances, I would say that that is right. I would agree with that. You shouldn't do it. It's like when Hillary Clinton sort of said deplorable, just do not leave any openings there. And then you have some conservatives trying to claim this is like, oh, look at this. He's even mocking Doug Ford. He's not mocking Doug Ford. Like this, and Doug Ford knows that Mark Carney is not mocking him. Yes. They're two peas in a pod, it seems. Really, really tight. So, but he is mocking Danielle. He's definitely mocking Danielle. And he's mocking Danielle for her inability to make a full-throated defense of Canada. And that maybe she would not be the person, the best choice to send out to speak on all of our behalf. And I'm not saying how that is a particular problem in this case because, well, according to Angus Reid, 53% of Canadians believe that Danielle Smith has engaged in some treachery, specifically. Specifically asked here, this is from Angus Reid, had a little graph, but I'll go to the article for you because the graph's a little blurry. Separatist sentiment, 3 in 10 in Alberta and Saskatchewan said they'd like to leave if Liberals form the next government. This is from Angus Reid. As if Election 45 could... Sorry, there's a typo in the article. As if Election 45 was looking for more drama, former opposition leader and Reform Party founder Preston Manning was rebuked by both Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and Liberal leader Mark Carney this week after Manning claimed that a vote for Carney and the Liberals represents a vote for Western secession and the breakup of Canada. That happened on CBC's The House last week. Preston Manning went there and gave an interview to Catherine Cullen and basically saying, well, there's 2 provinces and, the rest of the country has to do something to make them feel included and all that kind of stuff, or else it's Western alienation if the Liberals win. And it's like, oh yeah, because if the Conservatives won, there wouldn't be a whole section of the country that would feel alienated too, right? But because you didn't win, right, you get to say, well, you got to coddle us now or else, we'll be very upset and disruptive. You have these other people going, like this, if Liberals win again, then, I'm going to have to move or I'm going to have to do something. So, oh, yes, I love Canada only when I win. Then you don't love Canada. You love winning. Right? The democratic process means that every now and then your guy's not going to win. Your team is not going to win. You're going to lose. You love Canada anyway. If progressives and liberals and New Democrats and Greens and all the rest of us were able to love Canada through the Mulroney years and through the Harper years, you can do it through the Trudeau years and Carney years. Come on. This is ridiculous. New data from nonprofit Angus Reid Institute finds that while Manning is not wrong that Western separatism sentiment may increase if the Liberals win federally, Carney has the data in his favor. Indeed, if the Liberals were to form the next government, approximately 3 in 10 in Alberta and Saskatchewan, so 30 and 33% respectively, say they would vote to leave the Federation, whether to form their own country or to join the United States. While this is significant, the vast majority say still say they would vote no in each province. So when you're asked the question, would you vote to have your province become its own independent country? 20% of Canadians overall said yes, and that's 17% in BC, 30 in Alberta, 33 in Saskatchewan, 12 in Manitoba, 13 in Ontario, 30 in Quebec, and 10 in Atlantic Canada. So, somebody recently did a poll in the United States asking Americans, whether they'd want to join Canada, and it was something like 22% said that, yeah, we'd be happy to join Canada. So there seems to be a little bit of that on both sides of the border going on. But this constant thing that you need to cater to this 20 or 22% and give them everything they want, or else we're going to break things. That's not patriotism. That's hostage talk. It's hostage taking talk. Nice country you got here. Give us what we want, whether we win or not. Govern the way we want you to, whether we win or not. Or else you'll have problems. We'll make sure of that. That's not patriotism. It's just not patriotism. Democracy is not Burger King. You don't get to have it your way. Sometimes you don't get the pickles. It's just unreal. So yes, while this probably is something that should have been avoided, because it does open the door, the majority of the country already believes that. I almost let it slip out. Thank God for the filter. What I really think about her, that I do not dare say live on camera. Again, but as I said yesterday, I think it. Yeah, that is. Let's put it this way: if 53% of the country think that you are betraying Canada, it's probably a low-risk move. And since we're on the topic of, federal leaders should not be mocking other leaders with derision. I remember Aaron O'Toole in the porta potty thing. I remember Pierre Poilievre mocking the nomination of an Arctic ambassador. With who are they going to negotiate with? Santa Claus? I remember Corey Tonight mocking candidate Justin Trudeau, saying that, well, if he remembers to bring his pants to the debate, he'll have done good. Or done well, technically. Apparently, little political stories, apparently in debate prep, because Justin Trudeau had heard it. He showed up to debate prep once in boxer shorts, just to mock it. They had a good laugh on the inside of the campaign with that one. Of course, he did remember to wear pants to the debate, and he ended up cleaning everyone's clock. There's plenty of mocking of other leaders from the conservative side of the spectrum. So clearly, that can't be the issue with which they're taking offense. I doubt very much that they've suddenly had a come to Jesus moment on not speaking about others in a derisive way or demeaning way. So, distraction. However, there's a great cartoon by Michael D'Adder out there with Carney and the goalie nets, and the goalie net is huge, almost like a soccer net. Right? And it's just to remind us that, the net is a little bigger. I think you actually have Carney thinking to himself here, the net's a lot bigger in politics, because absolutely anything you can do could be twisted and torqued and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't think the moment will have too much negative impact. He is, of course, again, showing that he could be, loose and have a sense of humor. I mean, and as slights go, no, we're not going to send her to talk to us. Maybe that's not a good idea. Is really, really mild. Oh, by the way, they're starting with Carney in his socks. The kids can't let go of socks or something. Just because he's a banker and he wears blue socks, don't think he's any different from Justin Trudeau. They just can't get over the socks. Oh boy. All right, kids and cubs. Let's see what I have here for you. Just a couple of editorials to read in for you before we go today. One's from Dean Blundell from here on our network with regards to Mark Carney. And after seeing a few things over the past couple of days, he had something to say and I wanted to share it with you. Just because, there's he's noticed something that's how to put it, pretty astutely noticed something is the best way I will put it. The entire free world needs to go full Carney. The BBC used it in their recent assessment of Canada's approach to dealing with Trump, and according to the latest polls, Canadians couldn't agree more. The sentiment captures a growing fervor around Liberal leader as he navigates Canada through a pivotal moment in its history while bringing the Liberal Party and Canada's democratic soul back to life. He's not just vowing to fight Trump's America tariffs and his 51st state annexation dreams. He's vowing to build and invest in Canada as part of that strategy, while drawing a line in the sand with MAGA assets at home. MAGA assets like Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, who's currently threatening to pull Canada out of Confederation. Mark Carney isn't your typical politician. He's a global economic heavyweight who has stepped into the political arena with a commanding presence. Born on March 16, 1965 in Fort Smith, Northwest Territories, Carney's roots are deeply Canadian, though his career is taking him to the highest echelons of international finance. Carney's education is as impressive as his career. He earned a bachelor's degree in economics from Harvard University in 1988 and a master's and doctorate in economics from Oxford University. This academic foundation in economics gave him a razor-sharp understanding of global markets, which he would later leverage in some of the most influential financial roles in the world. He's not a professional politician. He's an overly qualified professional begrudgingly working in politics to save the country he loves and crushing the political establishment along the way. Carney's professional journey reads like a masterclass in economic leadership. He began his career in the private sector, spending 13 years at Goldman Sachs, where he worked in London, Tokyo, and New York, honing his expertise in international finance. In 2003, he transitioned to the public sector, joining the Bank of Canada as deputy governor. By 2008, he was appointed governor of the Bank of Canada, becoming the youngest central banker governor in the G20. Carney steadily steered Canada through the 2008 global financial crisis, earning widespread praise for his pragmatic and forward-thinking approach. In 2013, Carney made history again by becoming the governor of the Bank of England, the first non-British citizen to hold the position in the bank's 300-year history. During his tenure until 2020, he navigated the UK through the economic turbulence of Brexit, championed climate finance, and pushed for greater transparency in global markets. His 2021 book, Values, Building a Better World for All, offers a glimpse into his vision for a more equitable and sustainable global economy, which he's now bringing to Canadian politics. After leaving the Bank of England, Carney took on roles as the UN Special Envoy for Climate Action and Finance and Vice Chair at Brookfield Asset Management, where he focused on sustainable investing. His global experience and economic acumen have made him a formidable figure. In 2025, he stepped into the role of Liberal Party leader, setting the stage for a dramatic shift in Canada's political landscape. Carney's entry into Canadian politics has electrified the Liberal base and has shifted the dynamics of the 2025 federal election campaign. Carney's resume, experience, and strength of character, combined with Canada's anti-Trump sentiment, have Canadians flocking to Team Carney. Carney is making Canadians believe in what we can be. He's giving Canada's reputation on the world stage and at home a shot in the arm we truly needed. He comforts Canadian voters with his calm, reasoned approach to standing up for the country and every citizen, not just conservatives. He has a plan, not a plan to come up with a plan that's not really a plan at all, like his opponent, Poilievre. He's an adult with big boy pants who wants to evolve this country with Canadians and for Canadians who share democratic values. He's not interested in accumulating or consolidating power. He wants to make this country a superpower based on the values and virtues of the world's greatest democracy. A decent democracy filled with decent, hardworking, free people who love who we are and know Canada is scratching the surface of being a global superpower and has no time for anyone who wants to stand in the way, foreign or domestic. What truly makes Carney a revelation is his unapologetic stance against threats to Canada's sovereignty, both domestic and foreign. Sovereignty has become the defining issue of the 2025 election, with U.S. President Donald Trump's aggressive posturing, tariffs, insults, and threats of annexation looming large. Carney has positioned himself as a staunch defender of Canadian independence, vowing to protect the nation's economic and political autonomy. He's not performative like Trudeau. He's in it for the business of Canada and the people who make Canada great. Trump's Liberation Day announcement on April 2nd, 2025, which introduced new reciprocal tariffs, sent shockwaves through Canada. Carney has responded with a blend of economic pragmatism and diplomatic resolve. Drawing on his experience navigating global crises, he's proposed a robust financial strategy to counter Trump's tariffs, including diversifying trade partnerships and strengthening Canada's domestic industries. His global network, built through years at the Bank of England and the UN, gives him a unique ability to rally international support against Trump's bellicosity. Carney's message is clear: Canada will not be bullied. Carney has also taken a hardline stance against domestic features like Pierre Poilievre and Danielle Smith, whom he views as undermining Canadian unity with their, quote, Maple MAGA rhetoric, often seen as aligning with American-style conservatism over Canadian interests. His actions include direct confrontation with Poilievre. Carney has positioned himself as a direct counter to Poilievre's leadership, particularly on national sovereignty and economic management issues. Polls show Carney outperforming Poilievre in head-to-head scenarios, mainly on financial and international issues. Carney has capitalized on Poilievre's faltering campaign, framing him as a divisive figure whose policies echo Trump's America First approach, rather than prioritizing Canadian interests. As a result, he turned a minus 25-point gap into a 10 to 15-point lead, the single greatest political turnaround in Canada's history, in 7 weeks. Criticism of Danielle Smith's pro-MAGA, anti-Canada policies. Carney has targeted Alberta Premier Danielle Smith for her alignment with Poilievre and her perceived anti-Canadian stance, particularly on energy and environmental policies. Smith's criticism of federal Liberal policies such as the oil and gas emissions cap has been a point of contention. Smith gaslit Carney, an adversary of the oil patch, but Carney has used this to his advantage, framing Smith's policies as detrimental to Canada's national unity and economic diversification. Promoting a unified Canadian vision. Carney has countered the pro-American rhetoric of Poilievre and Smith by emphasizing a vision of Canadian sovereignty and unity. His initiatives, such as the $6 billion investment in Arctic over-the-horizon radar technology and a $420 million boost for Canadian Armed Forces presence in the Arctic, as announced in Iqaluit per the Prime Minister's website, underscore his commitment to defending Canada's sovereignty against external threats like Trump's annexation rhetoric. This also serves as a rebuttal to domestic critics who he believes are too aligned with American interests, positioning Carney as a leader who prioritizes Canada first. And 4, leveraging political momentum. Carney has used Poilievre and Smith's political missteps to his advantage. For instance, Smith's pro-MAGA actions have been described as a, quote, gift-wrapped political sledgehammer for Carney, allowing him to appeal to moderate voters alienated by her and Poilievre's rhetoric. By proposing to include pragmatic conservatives like Erin O'Toole in his cabinet, Carney is signaling a willingness to bridge divides while isolating the more extreme elements of the Maple MAGA movement. I'm not sure how that's going to be an option now that Erin O'Toole clearly is not running for the Liberals. As Canada's National Observer reports, Smith's actions have inadvertently handed Carney a gift-wrapped political sledgehammer. Her policies, which some view as aligning too closely with Poilievre's conservative agenda, have alienated moderate voters, giving Carney an opening to frame her as a threat to the national cohesion. Carney has also gone head-to-head with Pierre Poilievre, whose once assured path to the Prime Minister's office is now in jeopardy. Every major poll asked voters to compare Carney and Poilievre on real-life scenarios, and Carney consistently came out on top, particularly on issues like economic management and international relations. Poilievre's campaign has faltered, with Canada's National Observer noting that a defeat could spell the end of his political career. Rumors of defections within Poilievre's own ranks, some campaign workers reportedly planning to secretly vote for Carney, underscore the Liberal leader's growing influence. Beyond countering threats, Carney is building a vision for a unified, forward-looking Canada. He's floated the idea of bringing pragmatic moderates like former Conservative leader Erin O'Toole into his cabinet, signaling a willingness to bridge partisan divides. His focus on climate action, economic resilience, and social equity, core themes of his book, Values, resonates with Canadians who are tired of divisive politics. And there again, so I'm guessing he's not talking about bringing Erin O'Toole specifically, but bringing people like moderates such as Erin O'Toole into his cabinet, which is different. And he does have a couple people running that would fit that bill. Mark Carney's rise comes when Canada faces unprecedented challenges, a belligerent neighbor to the south, internal divisions stoked by figures like Smith and Poilievre, and global economic landscape fraught with uncertainty. His background as a globally respected leader and economist, his background as a globally respected economist, his education from top-tier institutions, and his experience steering nations through crises uniquely equip him to lead. The latest polling numbers show Canadians are responding to his message, and his hardline stance against threats to sovereignty has galvanized a broad coalition of voters. Full Carney isn't just hyperbole. It's a recognition of a leader redefining Canadian politics. As the 2025 election heats up, Carney's blend of character, experience, national pride, economic expertise, global perspective, and unwavering commitment to Canada's independence is proving to be a game changer. Whether he can translate this momentum into a Liberal victory remains to be seen, but one thing is clear. Mark Carney is a revelation, and he's uniting a very divided country when we need it most. So, and the point here in this article that I find is the particularly astute observation, and we mentioned it very briefly yesterday, is that it's not only leadership, it's leadership and vision. Right. So when we said yesterday that Mark Carney is providing calm and assuredness and reinforcement that this is stuff that we can do. It is a very, very tough challenge, but we are Canadians and we have the ability to do it. And he believes in our ability to do it. And he is going to show us the way. And he knows how because he's seen this before. Right? There's a vision of all that we can be. We are going to build ourselves out of this. We are going to turn ourselves into a superpower in several ways. We are going to augment our traits. We're going to become a bigger international player. We're going to be more self-reliant. All of these types of things. These are nation-building proposals. Right? So we can see that he has a plan. And we can see heading together, right? Like yesterday when we're talking about his trades policy along with his housing policy and how they connect. And now recently his policy on lumber also connects with that because we're going to be using some of those lumber to build those houses. So he's coming out and we're at the point in the campaign now where you can take one piece of policy and another piece of policy and see how the policy pieces fit together. And if you hear that click, snap, you know you actually have a plan. You're starting to see the pieces of the plan come together again as we're talking about the intellectual striptease that is happening. Yes. So you have the Poilievre camps trying to claim that they're doing the same thing, right? So there's a different policy every day, an announcement a day, and that was the plan, right? Because bash Trudeau, have a policy a day, say why we need this policy because how it is those terrible liberals did us wrong and left us, defenseless and weak and all that kind of stuff, and how he's going to fix it, and just a different policy, keep the subject changing every day from one thing to another, flood the zone, rapid campaign, and then let's just win this thing. That's not working here because there's one overarching mood over the entire campaign, and it's not that affordability isn't important, it's not that crime isn't important, it's not that immigration isn't important, but none of it is important if you don't have a country. None of it's important if you don't have an economy. Right? So the focus, the inability to pivot, and again, the inability to provide a full-throated denunciation of Trump in such a way that convinces Canadians that you actually do believe that Trump is a bigger threat than a fellow Canadian. Because it's the same thing from the Liberal side, right? The Liberal side could be running on Pierre Poilievre is such a terrible threat, and yes, but Mark Carney, yes, he takes a couple of jabs at Poilievre, but he's not running on Pierre Poilievre is scary. He's running on everything in my life has probably trained me for this moment. I have a plan for this. Let me help. It's a completely different vibe. Pierre's vibe is almost like, I'm owed this, give this to me. Declare an election now. It has to be a carbon election. It's literally the attitude has been entitled. It's his turn to lead. You've been there long enough, Liberals. It's my turn now. Move. Go now. Sooner the better. Don't wait for the election. Just resign. Right? That's been the Pierre narrative. So it's two completely, entirely different vibes. And with Pierre, you have the various policies that work on the day. Why not to attack the Liberals? But I'm not seeing yet how they all come together to form a picture that would make us stronger. With Carney's policies, I'm seeing how one relates to the other and how they all fit together. I'm not seeing that from Pierre's campaign yet. So, again, if we're talking about who has the better plan, who do you trust more on the economy? Who has the more experience? Yeah, okay, Pierre has more experience as a politician, but right now, we need an economic manager. You just do. Right? It was like the time when we had Jean Chrétien as Prime Minister. Jean Chrétien wasn't particularly flashy, but he was an extremely good manager at a time where we needed one. Right? Jean Chrétien wasn't the stereotypical politician. Right? A lot of people joke that he didn't speak either official language well. And still managed to be prime minister for over a decade and have a 40-year career, right? Sometimes you're just the right person at the right moment. You have the right tone. You give off the right energy. And it's just the moment passed Pierre by. And he opted not to meet it. Someone else came along and said, well, if you won't meet it, I will. And here we are. All right. I think we'll end there today, kits and cubs. What do you say? That's the end of this episode of today's edition of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we loved making this for you. Now, remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We would really appreciate it if you do. Now, if you are listening to us on podcast and you would like to make sure that you do not miss an episode, just scan that QR code that appeared. That will bring you to our pod page. That's podpage.com/thetruenortheagerbeaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when you click on subscribe, we come directly to you. When we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it comes directly to your inbox. You don't even have to go looking for it, wherever it is that you are listening to your podcast. And we make sure that you don't miss a thing. So thank you so much for subscribing and for making us part of your day. We really appreciate it. If you would like to help us in yet other way, kits and cubs, well, hey, how about taking a surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, where again, the lovely Kits Elaine and Kits Cassie will be asking you or inviting you, imploring you, urging you, all the words that you want, to play with our buttons. Go ahead and smash like, share, and subscribe. When you do, it helps us with the algorithm very, very much. And and we're grateful. It gets us a little bit of happy. So do as, I can see 17,100 subscribers now have joined us. So thank you so very much for growing kind of fast all of a sudden. So please, I guess as we're getting closer to the debates and stuff like that, more people are tuning into politics. So thank you to all of you who are, again, getting a sample of our show and liking what you see and subscribing. Much gratitude. It helps us a lot. All right. Let's see, what else do we have for you? Okay. Oh, yes, of course, the Emergency Hydration Fund, because, we have to make sure that we rid the world of the chronic and terrible condition that is dry beaver. Case of emergency clutch pearls. So kids and cubs, if you do like our work and you would like to encourage us to do more, we do incur some costs in order to bring this show to you, and we would appreciate your help with it. And you can do that by scanning that QR code, which brings you to our tip jar, which is at our coffee page, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. And if you go there and leave us a little something, we would be very grateful. Remember that tipping is very, very, very sexy. When you tip, actually, when you're walking down the street, you'll notice people going, "Ooh, who is that very engaged and informed person? Ooh, magnetic." It's true. We tested it in our labs. So we thank you so much for your generous donation and enthusiastic expression of support. Every cent goes back into the show, and hopefully you see the progress, and with better equipment, better sound, and more events and stuff like that. So we really appreciate everything that you do for us. We're grateful, and we do realize that times are getting a little tighter, and that people are concerned. So if you're not able to donate, please do not worry about that. Please do keep on coming, though, with your gifts of attention and participation, because they really do matter to us. Without you, we're just two people talking into the void, right? So we need you, the audience. You can write to us, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Please let us know what you think. If you have any ideas, again, questions for a Q&A show. If you have any questions about what's going on, let us know. Send it there. We'd be happy to be able to collate them all together and then answer them for you, whether it's about how the show runs or whether there are questions about politics and you just want our view on something that you've been wondering. Please do ask us. We appreciate that. All right. And of course, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com is where you can send us a direct transfer if you want to make a 100% Canadian transaction that doesn't go through the CE bros of the tech industry. And we get 100% of your donation. So we thank you for that as well. Best damn fam in all of podcasting. We're nothing without you. So lots of love. Thank you so much for that. All right. Because democracy is something that you do, kids and cubs, please, again, remember Quebec Liberal leadership race and Progressive Conservative race in Manitoba, provincially, voting and all that kind of stuff, researching your candidates. Please do that. But the big one, of course, is the federal election going on. Again, find out who your candidates are, do some phone banking, volunteer at a polling station if you can. But do absolutely, one thing that you must do is talk to everyone around you about how you're planning to vote and you're excited to vote and are you voting, and yeah, you're voting right, and try to get them to come with you to vote and all that stuff, because turnout matters this time around. Right, not just for us, but to send a message internationally. Turnout matters. So we need you to come out. This is one that you can't miss. And again, I know that, as Mr. Grizzly's pointed out, we always say that this is the most important election of our lives. But this one probably is, because we've never faced an existential threat like this, at least not in my lifetime. Right? So do make a plan to vote. It really is important this time, specifically, that we show that we care enough to get up and actually stand for our country. All right. Words of wisdom. Given that I'm going in to some high stakes curling matches, because if we win, we get to go to finals, and I'm actually, I've never played in our 2-person stick. It could be an actual club A division final. And last year, as you know, if you followed, we got to the A semifinal in open doubles, but I have a new partner this year, so obviously we're not there this year. But I didn't expect to have to be in A division again this year, but I am with my open stick doubles, with my stick doubles partner, I should say. And yeah, so today I'm going off after we do this 2-player semifinal match. And if we win that, we get to play in the big final on the last day of the season. And that's never happened to me in 22 years of curling. So it would be nice if that could happen. So please send your good vibes. And for this evening, it's an open doubles C division semifinal tonight. And if we win the final, wish us luck for that too. Hopefully I will have good news to report to you tomorrow. Okay, that's about it for now. Oh yes, I guess I was going to say the the words of wisdom. The words of wisdom, as it appeals, as it pertains to this, is to if you're ever in the position to be so fortunate as to face this kind of pressure, remember that this type of pressure is actually a privilege to have. So don't get nervous. Just use it as fuel and be quietly confident. And hey, it just might work out for you. Send me your good vibes. Okay. Kids and cubs, could be a tough world out there. So please, please, please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And now, let's see if once again I am able to stick that landing. Let's get rid of that thing down there. And because yesterday I didn't do that part right. And here we go. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. Kits, and just checking the markets given that they've just opened. So far not as down as predicted in the futures, but still a little down so far. Now, this is really, really early, the first 4 minutes, so it's not going to set the trend for the day. But the Dow only opened 0.6 down from yesterday. The TSX only 0.3% down from yesterday. Close. So we'll see what happens over the course of the day with that in overnight and international markets in the Asia Pacific region. Bit of a positive day on the Hang Seng and on the Shanghai and Shenzhen composites. Down day on the Nikkei, about 4% there, and Taiwan down close to 6% there. In Europe currently, everything is down by a healthy amount. The FTSE in the UK is down 2.69. That's the FTSE 250. The FTSE 100 down 276. The DAX in Germany is down nearly 3%. The FTSE in Italy down 3%. The CAC 40 in France down 3.2%. And the SMI in Switzerland down 4.6%. Here in the Americas, like I said, Dow just down 0.4. S&P pretty much flat. NASDAQ pretty much flat, down up 0.5%. So hopefully it will be a more positive day here. Not sure exactly what's going on in the United States with regard to that today. The blip the other day was caused by somebody saying that there might be a 90-day reprieve on something in order to negotiate better deals, to which the White House came immediately out and said, no, that's fake news. That's not happening. But there is some rumors, as much as you can believe what it is that Trump says, but it seems that there are some nations calling, like Italy and Japan and others, that want to negotiate some terms. So there is a possibility that a safe face way out of this is for him to negotiate a few deals quickly with a couple of countries, claim victory, and then pull back on some things. But on the other hand, let's not kid ourselves. This is a man who has bankrupted several casinos and walked away without batting an eye. And I am personally of the belief that he would not think twice about bankrupting a treasury and then walking away. I have a feeling that he's if I'm going down, I'm taking everyone down with me kind of guy. So, hope I'm wrong on that one. Not a very cheerful history, sorry, kids and cubs, but at least on the markets, if you're investing so far in the Americas, the day has opened up well. Hopefully we'll get some positive news and we'll get a better close for those of us who are worried a little bit about our investments and our retirements. All right, kids and cubs, have a beaverific day, everyone. We'll talk to you tomorrow.